What's good, artists? It's Curtis King of CurtisKingBeats.com here with another Artist Marketing 911. Artists, today we're going to talk about disappointment. We're going to talk about ways that I deal with disappointment. Disappointment is literally a fact of life. It's something that you will not avoid. As long as you're trying to be successful, as long as you're trying to do anything, disappointment is going to rear its ugly head. The dangerous thing about disappointment when it comes to creatives like you and I, artists and musicians, is that we're literally paid to dig down into our deepest, darkest stories. We're paid to dig in these stories and hopefully help somebody on the journey of theirs, and hopefully help somebody as they journey through the same dark paths and things that they're going through. So we're literally paid to be very reflective upon our lives, which in its own way can be very healthy at times, very therapeutic, but sometimes it can be very unhealthy. And you and I know disappointment comes in many shapes or forms for us as artists and musicians. Disappointment may come from a terrible show that we did. Disappointment may come from a janky promoter. Disappointment may come from releasing an album and seeing that nobody on your friends list even gives a damn to retweet it or share it. Having a dead-end job where they don't want to give you hours that allow you to work on your craft, so then it just puts you deeper and deeper into disappointment. Having a relationship with somebody who doesn't understand what it is that you do and doesn't encourage you. Many things can contribute to our disappointments, and there's ways that we sort of deal with them as creatives. We like to kind of just cover up our deepest, darkest feelings and either put it through our art, but sometimes it can be very unhealthy to do things in certain ways when it comes to dealing with disappointment. And as you start to find yourself encounter these disappointments, I'm hoping that this video can help you today. I think the most dangerous thing about disappointment is that disappointment can definitely lead to depression. And I know that this series is called Artist Marketing, but a lot of times the decisions artists make in a marketing mind frame can be directly influenced by how they feel emotionally, how often they promote, the type of content they promote, the type of tweets they share, the type of news they share. All of this stuff can be affected in your marketing by simply not getting in control of what you're feeling in here and being on the same page with what's going on up here. Disappointment will rob you of your energy. And when you are robbed of your energy, you're robbed of your growth. When you are robbed of the opportunity to grow, you become content with being mediocre. You be content with just staying where you're at. When you're content with the mediocre and content with where you're at, you encourage others around you to be just as content so that you don't feel guilty about being content. When others don't listen to you or others go the opposite direction and decide they actually want to be happy and have success for themselves, your content turns to bitterness. When bitterness starts to kick in, many times we become critics. We become critics of other people who are actually getting things done. And depression can definitely lead to a lot of dark thoughts. I've been there myself many times. I don't think that you ever get away from them, but I think that the way that you truly deal with depression, it's what's going to ultimately determine your success. So let's talk about some ways that I combat disappointment. And I say combat because I mean combat. I mean that when you feel that disappointment coming over you, you have to actively get your ass up and do something. I think the first thing that you should do when you're combating disappointment, you got to identify what it is that's making you disappointed. I know it sounds very simple, but I guarantee you identifying what exactly it is at the source of your disappointment is the first huge step to you overcoming that disappointment. Most times we're not real about what the actual source of disappointment is. We may be mad at our friends for not sharing a project, but is the disappointment in them, or is the disappointment in our own selves, in our insecurity for needing to have our friends justify for us what success means? Is it us using social media as a measurement to basically judge our success on? Are those the real source of the problem? If those are the real source of the problem, well, there's easy solutions for those. You can definitely combat those things. But identifying what it is lets you feel like you're not just fighting everything. You're not fighting an invisible monster that you just have no idea what his power is. When I truly identify what it is that's actually making me disappointed, I talk about it. I talk about it with somebody that I really, really care about and somebody that cares about me. I express myself through my art form, even if I'm not releasing it to the public. Sometimes just getting it out. Sometimes just sitting there in your iPhone and writing in your notes. Just really sitting there and just getting all of these thoughts out Sometimes it makes you even look at the ridiculousness of it and say, I can't believe I was really feeling that way. And I know that's not true. I know that I'm not as bad as this one setback. Also, I think that another way to combat your disappointment, you gotta get up and get active. The problem is most people sit and they harp and they harp and they sit there and obsess over the things that they failed over, and they never actually get any progress from that situation because they never move from it. That stagnant state of being is literally what's stopping you from growing, what's stopping you from looking at your failures and your disappointments as opportunities. Those are times to get excited. Those are times you should look and say, look, I'm actually human, and these things actually affect me. These are things that I'm dealing with. Now I have opportunities to permanently remove something from my life, or remove the way that I act towards it. I am being tested now. How do I do on this test? Well, when you're going through that disappointment, that's the perfect time to identify, hey, this has been my growth since the last time I dealt with this. So you got to stay active. You got to stay out of your thoughts. You got to stay out of your past, out of your memories. You got to stay out of all that stuff. You got to make sure you say, what is it I'm going to do today to stop me from repeating these same steps that lead to this type of disappointment? Something else I do when I find myself being disappointed about something that happened to me, I take it off of me. What do I mean when I say I take it off of me? I go out there and I find somebody to help. What you'll find, and you may even know this from memory, when you help somebody, how many times are we actually thinking about what's going on with us? When we're helping somebody, all we're thinking about is, I don't want to disappoint this person. I want to make sure that I get this done for somebody. When your mission is so strong and you're so vehement about getting this done for this individual, it starts to take that pressure off of yourself. And once you see yourself being successful and helping somebody else in their issue, you start to feel more and more of that success juice. You start to ingest that success juice, and you start to take that to your own endeavors, and you come at it with a whole nother vigor. You come at it with a whole nother mindset. You don't look at it as, I'm only good as my last disappointment, because it's not the truth. You know that. When you do things for other people, it's less about you and it's more about them, and removes that feeling of obsessive disappointment on yourself, and it makes you feel like you're somebody that's of value to somebody else, and your energy and your encouragement and your happiness is literally dependent upon help somebody else. Also, when you're in your mindset of actively moving during this disappointment, you want to make sure you stack up your small wins. Stack up your small wins. Stack up your small gains. Maybe you didn't get every one of your friends to share your album or share your song, but maybe you got one or two this time. How can you take those 2 to 4? How can you make sure that those actual 2 that did share your content, how can you make sure that they always share your content? How can you make sure that they feel appreciated? Maximize upon the small. I always talk about this, but you want to maximize upon your small wins. Stack them up. Get your juice back. Stack them up and get your juice back. Also, stop doing the same things, hoping for different results. If you find yourself going to the same place over and over and over again, and the same thing keeps happening, why are you still doing it? Why are you setting yourself up to be disappointed? Why are you draining your juice? That's your juice. You stacked up your small wins so you can have this juice. Why are you taking away from your energy? Why are you giving it to entities and things that obviously don't value your presence? Also, check the people around you. It's been often documented that the people around you are ultimately what's going to determine your success. Check the people around you. Check and see if people are moving upward or if they're just staying stagnant and they're content with that. If you got people that are content and stagnant and they're waiting on you, that's not a productive group to be in. It's productive for them. It's not productive for you. That's adding to your disappointment, because when you fail, nobody else is up there to pull you up because everybody's waiting for you to get back to 100 on your juice. Also, when you find yourself on the border of disappointment and depression, start looking around at the things that you're grateful about. Start thinking about, you know what? I didn't get this thing that I wanted. I didn't get this particular coverage that I wanted on my project. I didn't get this or that, but guess what I do have? I have supporters. I have skill. I have a gift. I have a God-given gift. And I have more opportunity to record more music. I have opportunity every single day that I am breathing and that I have air in my body. I have life. You got life right now. You got something to be grateful about. I don't care what situation you're in. I don't care if you're sitting in a hospital bed right now. You have reason to be grateful. There are a million what ifs in the graveyard right now. There are a million dreams and dreamers in the graveyard right now. You have the opportunity today to get your ass up and not harp on these disappointments. Disappointments are a part of life. It's that little annoying brother that you just know. It's your brother. He's going to be around here. It's going to happen. He's going to rear his head. Any level of this game that you're in, you're going to find some disappointment. How you deal with that relationship and how you engage that relationship is what's going to determine your happiness and your success. In conclusion, one disappointment, one setback will not define you. Only quitting will define you. Are you a quitter or not? These are my thoughts on it. I would love to hear yours. This has been another Artist Marketing 911, Curtis King of CurtisKingBeats.com.
Play this every morning when you wake up. Oh, gosh told me not to sing on this, but I promise you, I feel like mystical. Hey, come on, let me get this.
Curtis King with 2 S's, Beats.com. Curtis King with 2 S's, Beats.com.